The next article is related to the Lokpal and Lokayuktas Act. As a parliamentary committee sought the details regarding the operationalization of the inquiry and the prosecution wing of the Lokpal more than a decade after the act was passed. So we will discuss the powers and functions of the Lokpal, the jurisdiction of the Lokpal, the challenges that it faces, and a few suggestions in this regard. This is important in GS2 under the topic statutory, quasi-judicial and regulatory bodies. First, let's discuss a few facts regarding the Lokpal. The Lokpal is the anti-corruption ombudsman in India. We borrowed the concept of ombudsman from Sweden, who adopted it as early as the 19th century, the ombudsman in Sweden. And the first ARC, the Administrative Reforms Commission in 1966, observed that we should have two independent authorities, that there should be two independent authorities at the center level and the state level for the anti-corruption allegations, which are functioning as independent bodies which can investigate into the corruption allegations. Therefore, it led to the enactment of the Lokpal and Lokayuktas Act finally in 2013. Through this act, the Lokpal came into picture. The Lokpal is therefore a statutory body through the Lokpal and Lokayuktas Act 2013. The first chairperson was appointed in 2019, that is Justice Pinaki Chandra Ghosh, and Lokayuktas were to be appointed in every state within 1 year of the passing of the act. Now, what is the mandate of Lokpal? It is to inquire into the allegations of corruption against certain public functionaries and for certain matters. That is, when there are allegations of corruption, the Lokpal takes up the investigation and inquiries. The organizational structure of the Lokpal comprises of the chairperson plus maximum 8 members. Half of these members have to come from the judicial background and half of them are coming from the reserved background, that is belonging to the SC, ST, OBC, minorities, women. And the chairperson of the Lokpal has to be either a former Chief Justice of India or a judge of the High Court, or an eminent person can also be the chairperson of the Lokpal. Now, how is the appointment done? The appointment of Lokpal is done by the President on the recommendation of a selection committee. The selection committee comprises of the Prime Minister, the Speaker of Lok Sabha, the Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha, the Chief Justice of India, and a judicial member. And the maximum tenure can be up to 5 years or up to the age of 70 years, which will be the maximum retirement age for the Lokpal. The salaries, allowances and the conditions of service will be equivalent to the Chief Justice of India for the chairperson, and for the other members of the Lokpal it will be equivalent to the judges of the Supreme Court. Now, when we look at the jurisdiction of the Lokpal, it can take up inquiries and investigations against the Prime Minister also, although there are certain exceptions when the inquiries or investigations are conducted against the Prime Minister by the Lokpal. That will look into it in a moment. And it can also conduct inquiries and investigations against the ministers, members of parliament and officials under the groups A, B, C as well as D. And it can also take up inquiries against the chairpersons, members, officers and directors of any board, corporation, society, trust or autonomous body which is having a statutory flavor or it is funded by the government. It can also investigate any society or trust or body which is receiving the contribution of more than 10 lakh rupees under the Foreign Contributions Regulatory Act. Now, what are the exceptions regarding the Prime Minister? There will be no conducting of investigations or inquiries against the Prime Minister if it is related to international relations, external security or internal security or public order or atomic energy or the decisions related to space. And also, when the investigation is to be taken up, first there will be the full Lokpal bench consideration. After that only there will be the initiation of inquiry, and after the full bench consideration of the Lokpal, 2/3 of the members of the Lokpal should approve that there should be an inquiry against the Prime Minister. Only then the inquiry will be initiated against the Prime Minister. Now, what are the powers of Lokpal? The Lokpal has the power of superintendence over the CBI. It can give directions to the Central Bureau of Investigation. Also, there cannot be any transfer of the investigating officer of the CBI without the approval of the Lokpal. It can authorize the CBI for the search and seizure operations. Also, there is an inquiry wing in the Lokpal which enjoys the powers of a civil court. For example, it can require the attendance, it can summon witnesses, or it can also require the presence of the evidence, material evidence as well. And it can give orders regarding the confiscation of the assets, proceeds, and the receipts or benefits which are arisen out of the proceeds of crime or procured by means of corruption in special circumstances. It can also recommend the transfer or the suspension of the alleged the public servants who are facing the allegations of the corruption. It can also give directions to prevent the destruction of records during the preliminary inquiry itself. Now let's look at the framework to tackle corruption in India, the legislative measures. First, there is the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. The Section 2C of the Prevention of Corruption Act defines the term public servant, that it broadly includes anyone who is performing the public functions. And the Section 3 provides that the government can appoint dedicated judges for speedy trials, ensuring speedy trials in the corruption related matters. The 2018 amendment to the Prevention of Corruption Act brought about significant changes. For example, it criminalized the giving of bribe also. Not only the person who is taking bribe, but also the person who is giving bribe, he will also be treated as a criminal. And the Section 17A of the amendment in 2018 provided that prior approval will be required before the inquiry into alleged offences against the public servants. This is still sub judice, and recently the Supreme Court gave a split verdict regarding the constitutionality of Section 17A of the Prevention of Corruption Act amendment of 2018, and the amendment also narrowed the scope of the criminal misconduct to fraudulent misappropriation and possession of the disproportionate assets. The amendment purpose was to ensure that the anti-corruption legislation in India is aligned with the UN Convention, the UN Convention Against Corruption. And now the commercial organizations, they will also be held liable if the associated persons, they are giving bribe for the advancement of the business interests. Additionally, there is the Central Civil Service Conduct Rules 1964. Through this, the public servants, they are ensuring that the high standards of integrity and impartiality are upheld. Therefore, they are prohibited from taking the gifts or bribes or indulging in the partisan political activities or disclosing any confidential information which can be misused for material gains or economic benefits. Similarly, the Companies Act 2013 brought about the provisions to ensure that there is no corporate fraud and reforms in the corporate governance as well. The Benami Transactions Act 1988, as amended in 2016, also outlawed the Benami transactions, which were often done to conceal the true ownership and therefore hide the proceeds from the illegal activities, the proceeds from the corrupt means. And the Black Money Act 2015, targeting the money which is stashed abroad, illegal, undisclosed foreign assets. And the Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018, targeting the persons who are fleeing India after committing the crime of corruption. Now, what are the challenges that the Lokpal faces? The primary challenge is the delays in the appointments. For example, the first chairperson itself was appointed in 2019, 6 years after the act was passed. Similarly, there are vacancies also. There is inadequate staffing. For example, in the Directorate of Prosecution, the Directorate of Inquiry wings of the Lokpal, which have been highlighted through the Parliamentary Committee report as well. And the investigation is also hampered. For example, 90% of the complaints are rejected due to petty reasons. For example, incorrect format, procedural errors, etc. Additionally, there is a lack of coordination because the Lokpal is reliant upon the other agencies for investigation, for example the CBI and the CVC, and therefore due to the lack of coordination the investigation is also hampered. So what are the suggestions that we can give regarding the efficient functioning of Lokpal? First, we need to ensure that it has sufficient infrastructure, adequate staffing, human resources at its disposal, and therefore the technological support also, and increase in the budgetary allocations as well. The coordination also needs to be improved between the Central Bureau of Investigation and the other agencies, and the public awareness also needs to be increased, because when we are educating people about the role of the Lokpal, then more reports regarding the corruption will also be coming up, and therefore it will ultimately promote transparency, because more investigations will lead to more trust building from the side of the people, and that will lead to more whistleblowers coming up. Now coming to the article, the Lokpal and Lokayuktas Act 2013 came into force on 1st of January 2014. But it began functioning only in March 2019, following the appointment of the first chairperson. Now the section 11 of the act obligates the Lokpal to constitute an inquiry wing to be led by a director of inquiry for conducting the inquiries, the preliminary inquiries related to the corruption related offences. And the prosecution wing should also be there, headed by the director of prosecution for the prosecution of the public servants. But the Standing Committee on Personal Public Grievances, Law and Justice has noted that the appointment of the director of inquiry and the staffing of the inquiry wing is still in progress only, and the prosecution wing of the Lokpal had formally been constituted through an order on June 6, 2025 only. At present, the matters related to prosecution are being handled through the CBI, which has its own prosecution mechanism. Now there is a mains practice question also. The Lokpal was envisaged as a key institutional mechanism to combat corruption. Discuss the powers and functions of the Lokpal. What are the major challenges that have hindered its effectiveness? Suggest measures to strengthen it. Please try to write it.